You only get one selection contract, one choice, one epic. And if you waste it on the wrong player, you'll probably regret it for the next few months. Now, here's the problem: just because a card has a high overall rating doesn't mean it's actually worth picking. Some of these epics are incredible, some are good only in specific squads, and honestly, a few of them simply aren't worth spending your selection contract on. So today, I'm ranking all 11 epic players, from the worst pick all the way to the absolute best. Let's get started. Coming in at number 11, Shinji Ono. Now, before Ono fans attack me, let me explain. This isn't because he's a bad footballer, it's because of value. When you're spending a selection contract, you want a player that immediately improves your team. Unfortunately, Ono just doesn't offer enough. He's technically clean, his passing feels smooth, his first touch is excellent, but compared to the other epics in this pack, he simply doesn't stand out. His physical presence isn't great, he isn't fast enough to dominate games, and unless you specifically enjoy his playstyle, there are much stronger options available. If you somehow get him from a free spin, absolutely give him a try. But spending your guaranteed selection contract on him, I wouldn't recommend it. For me, Ono starts this list at number 11. The next player is slightly better, but honestly, I'd still save my contract. At number 10, Daniele Massaro. Massaro isn't a terrible striker. In fact, he can finish chances really well. If you give him good service inside the box, he'll score goals. But here's the issue: there are simply too many better strikers already available in eFootball. Whether it's free cards, older epics, or cards you already own, Massaro doesn't really bring anything unique. He doesn't have that must-have factor. He's reliable, but not exciting. So, he takes my number 10 spot. Now this next player hurts a little, because I genuinely wanted this card to be better. Marco Reus, one of the most loved footballers of his generation. And honestly, I wish this card did him more justice. The good news? He's smooth on the ball. His passing is excellent. He can create chances. And if you like patient build-up football, you'll enjoy using him. But if you're expecting a fast, explosive winger who constantly scores goals, you're probably going to be disappointed. He doesn't dominate matches the way you'd expect from an epic winger. Now, if you're a Dortmund fan, or simply love Marco Reus, go ahead and pick him. Football is also about playing with your favorite players, but purely from a gameplay perspective, there are stronger choices in this pack. That's why Reus comes in at number 9. The next player has amazing football IQ, but he isn't for everyone. Dennis Bergkamp. This is probably one of the most technical players in the entire pack. His passing, his ball control, his first touch, everything feels incredibly elegant. You can immediately tell this isn't a player designed to rely on pace. He's designed to create football. The problem? Not every player enjoys that style. If your game is built around quick counters, constant sprinting, and direct attacks, Bergkamp might actually feel slow. He rewards patience, he rewards smart movement, and he rewards players who love building attacks. So, yes, he's a very good card, but he's also one of the most difficult cards in this pack to master. Because of that, he lands at number 8. Now we finally reach a player that I think many people are actually underrating. The only goalkeeper in this pack, David Seaman. Goalkeepers are always difficult to rank, because one match, they save everything. The next match, they forget how to catch a football. Seaman is a solid goalkeeper. Good reflexes, strong reach, reliable positioning. If your current goalkeeper isn't performing, then yes, Seaman is definitely worth considering. But here's the question you should ask yourself: do you actually need a goalkeeper? If you're already happy with someone like Dida, Cech, Kahn, Courtois, Donnarumma, or another reliable keeper, I'd rather strengthen another position. That's the only reason Seaman isn't higher. He's a good goalkeeper, but selection contracts should usually be spent on players who have a bigger impact on your team. So Seaman finishes at number 7. Things are about to get much more interesting, because from this point onward, every remaining player is genuinely worth discussing. And trust me, my top 3 might surprise you. Starting the top 6, Rui Costa. If you're someone who enjoys controlling the game through midfield, Rui Costa is going to feel amazing. His passing is exactly what you'd expect from a legendary playmaker. Short passes, through balls, switches of play, Everything feels smooth and accurate. He's also very comfortable under pressure. He rarely loses the ball if you don't force risky dribbles. But there's one thing holding him back. His playstyle isn't for everyone. He isn't the type of AMF who's constantly making dangerous runs into the box. He's more of a creator than a finisher, so if you're expecting goals every match, you might end up disappointed. But if you love building attacks, controlling possession, and creating chances for your striker, Rui Costa can be a fantastic addition. For the right squad, he's excellent. For every squad, not quite. That's why he comes in at number 6. Now we move on to a player who quietly does all the dirty work without getting much attention. At number 5, Mark van Bommel. This is one of those players that you don't fully appreciate until you actually use him. He isn't flashy. He isn't going to score screamers every match. He's not going to complete 5 dribbles in a row. Instead, he does something even more important. He keeps your midfield balanced. His positioning is excellent. He breaks up attacks. He wins second balls. And once he gets possession, his passing is clean enough to immediately start your counterattack. That's exactly what you want from a defensive midfielder. Now, if you're looking for a very aggressive destroyer, this might not be your favorite card. Van Bommel plays with discipline. He's calm. He's reliable. And honestly, every strong squad needs a player like that. If your team is missing a proper holding midfielder, Van Bommel is definitely worth considering. That's why he earns the 5th spot. Alright, now things get interesting, because this next player will probably divide opinions. Wayne Rooney, one of the greatest forwards of his generation. And thankfully, this card actually captures a lot of what made Rooney special. He's strong, he can shoot with both feet, his passing is surprisingly good, and he never stops working. But there's one thing you need to understand before picking him. Don't expect him to play like a traditional goal poacher. Rooney naturally likes to get involved in the build-up. Sometimes he'll drop deep, receive the ball, turn, and create chances instead of simply waiting inside the box. Some players absolutely love that. Others prefer a striker who's always making runs behind the defense. That's why Rooney isn't higher on this list. He's incredibly good, but he also fits a specific type of player. If you enjoy complete forwards, Rooney is brilliant. If you only want a pure finisher, there are better options ahead. Still, his quality is undeniable. Now we're finally into the top 3, and honestly, these next 3 players are all capable of changing your squad. The order simply comes down to overall value. Taking 3rd place, Paul Scholes. This card surprised me, much more than I expected. Everyone knows Scholes can pass. That's never been the question. But what impressed me most was how complete he feels. His passing is world class. His vision is incredible. He can switch play effortlessly. And if you leave him with even a little bit of space outside the box, don't be surprised if he scores an absolute rocket. Long-range shooting is easily one of his biggest strengths. He's also much more mobile than many people expect. He constantly finds good positions, supports the attack, and keeps the midfield moving. The only area where he isn't elite is defending, so don't expect him to win every tackle. That's simply not his role. His job is to make your entire attack better, and he does exactly that. If you're looking for a creative midfielder who can also score goals, Paul Scholes is one of the best choices in this entire pack. That's why he comfortably takes the number 3 spot. We've reached the final 2. If you've watched until this point, thank you. Because these are the 2 players that, in my opinion, give you the most value from this entire selection contract. Let's start with number 2. At number 2, Frank Rijkaard. Honestly, this card exceeded my expectations. The biggest reason? Versatility. You can comfortably use him as a DMF. You can even use him as a center back if your squad needs it. And no matter where you play him, he delivers. As a destroyer, he's aggressive without feeling reckless. He wins tackles consistently. He reads passing lanes really well. And because of his height and physicality, he dominates midfield battles. Another thing I really liked is how composed he feels on the ball. Some defensive midfielders panic the moment they're pressed. Rijkaard doesn't. He can win the ball, turn, and immediately play an accurate forward pass. That makes your transitions much faster. Now, if you've already got an elite anchorman, don't replace him just because Rijkaard has a higher overall. Remember, playstyle matters more than ratings. Anchorman, destroyer, box-to-box, They all do different jobs. Pick the one your squad actually needs. But if you've been looking for a top-class defensive midfielder, or a defender who can also step into midfield, Rijkaard is easily one of the safest choices in this pack, which is why he takes my number 2 spot. And finally, the number 1 selection contract pick, Sergio Aguero. For me, this was actually the easiest decision on the list. The reason isn't just because he's a legendary striker, it's because this card has almost everything people look for. First, he has one of the most popular playstyles in the game, a proper goal poacher. That means his movement is simple to understand. He's constantly looking to attack the space behind defenders. You don't have to force him into position. He naturally finds dangerous areas. Second, his finishing is outstanding. Inside the box, outside the box, first-time shots, quick turns. He's capable of converting chances from almost anywhere. And then, there's his shooting. If you've used him, you already know. Give him just half a yard of space, and he can punish your opponent instantly. Now, does he have weaknesses? Of course. He's not the tallest striker. He's not someone who's going to bully defenders physically. If your entire game depends on long balls and aerial duels, Aguero probably isn't the perfect fit. But for almost every other style, quick passing, through balls, counterattacks, possession football, he fits beautifully. That's what makes him so valuable. He's easy to use, easy to fit into almost any squad, and immediately improves your attack. That's why Sergio Aguero is my number 1 selection contract recommendation, and that's my complete ranking. Now remember, this doesn't mean everyone should pick Aguero. Football games aren't just about using the strongest cards. Sometimes, your favorite player is the right choice. If you're a Rooney fan, pick Rooney. If you've always loved Reus, go for Reus. There's nothing wrong with choosing the player you'll actually enjoy using, but if your only goal is getting the best gameplay value, this would be my ranking. So here's what I want to know. Comment your top 3 players from this pack. Would you still put Aguero at number 1? I'll be replying to as many comments as I can, so I'm genuinely curious to see your rankings. If this video helped you decide how to use your selection contract, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next eFootball video. Take care, and goodbye.